Oh my god.
Hi, girlies.
Hi, Bria.
Hi, Jenny. What's up?
How's it going?
You know what? Things are good.
Yeah?
Things are looking up.
Highly blessed and highly favored.
Highly blessed, highly favored. I have faith in God and man.
I don't. Oh. Maybe I will, but not right now.
Why not? Your faith is shaken?
A little bit. It's been a really rough year.
You have had a really rough year.
Yeah.
Just like very tumultuous.
Deaths.
Changes.
Fired.
That's what I meant by changes.
Yeah, but I got engaged. That's like literally the only good thing.
Oh my God, so true. Oh my God, that was this year.
Yeah.
I feel like that was last year.
We could count it as 2022 because like that's literally the only thing. It happened in January and then God was like, nope.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, here's to the rest of the year looking up. I mean,
You've had a great year.
I've had a good year. Quit, forged my own path, got married. Major
Eloped?
changes. Yep.
Yeah.
Major changes for both of us. But you know what? Things are looking up, and we're going to keep going from here.
Yeah. 2024, that's my year. I'm here for 2024.
Every year, some bitch says, the next year is going to be my year. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Every year, someone's like, 2023 is going to be my year.
I mean, I thought that about 2020. I was like, 2020 is the year I get engaged. We move in together. I have a new job that I'm making all this
It was
money.
the year that you moved in together, wasn't it?
Well, we had been living together for a year. So I was like, okay, we're going to live together for 2 years. We're going to get engaged.
Okay.
So 2020 was going to be that second year.
I see.
And
wow.
boy, was I and the entire world so wrong.
I've been watching the Formula One show on Netflix, and I finally got to the pandemic part.
Oh.
And it is so weird to see how we were feeling about the pandemic in June 2020.
What?
It is so weird.
Were they racing?
Yes.
Yeah, because they're alone.
They were trying, like, when it was first coming about, they were all like, this is no big deal. Like, the NBA had shut down. Like, everything had shut down, and Formula One was deciding if they were going to shut down. And they were like, no, we're not shutting down. Fuck that. And then at the very first race of the season, a team had an outbreak of COVID, and they had to cancel the race.
Wow.
And then they didn't race for another couple months, I think.
The NBA, the MLB, the NHL, and the NFL all saying they're postponing their seasons.
Crazy.
That's when I knew. Oh, okay.
No, I knew when countries started closing their borders. I was like, I've never seen that happen.
That was what it was for you.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'd never seen every sporting event.
But it was crazy because
everything.
They all announced like at the same time, as if they were in cohorts together. Because it was like I got like notifications like boom, boom, boom on my phone.
Really?
Yeah, and Nico and I were together, and we were just like, we looked at each other and we're like, oh, this is bad.
Crazy.
That's how we knew. And then, my God, did the
life
world
hasn't been the
change?
same since. I'm telling, our lives are split into two parts: before COVID and after COVID.
It's like, do you watch Marvel movies?
No.
Oh, it's like the snap, like you would like in Avengers: Infinity War. Can I spoil it for you?
Yeah.
I think it was I think it's the movie before Infinity War. At the end, the edible is kicked in.
Oh yeah. Speaking of, Jenny is off that Camino social edible today. I did a weekender joint. I think it's like the lively, energetic one. So, if you're listening to this, feel free to light it up and laugh with your girlies.
You're definitely going to have more fun if you do.
I think this will make a lot more sense if you partake. Not that we are peer pressuring, but that is, this is kind of like a high mukbang in a way.
Yeah.
So feel free to do that if you want to.
All right. Well, this is too difficult to figure out. But anyway, the point is like, well, it's kind of weird that like Marvel foreshadowed what was going to happen in the world, because in one of the Avengers movies, at the end, they're like Thanos, you know, he's the bad guy. He gets all of his Infinity Stones, and so he basically like erases like half of the population. Like they disintegrate into nothing. And so that took place over 4 years, and then the Avengers like destroy him, and they set the world back, and so everybody who like disintegrated and disappear like come back, but like they always refer to it as like pre-snap, post-snap, or whatever it's called. Please don't drag me for this. Like my brain.
No,
is still
I get that
waking up.
concept. It's like the show Manifest. Did you ever watch that?
No.
These people get on a plane, and when they're on the flight, 4 years go by. And then they get off the flight and they're like, oh my God, 4 years went by. Turns out the plane had been missing for 4 years, but it just felt like a normal plane ride to them. But it's like before the plane ride and after the plane ride, so much has changed.
Wow.
Like someone got remarried, like people moved on with their lives.
Oh, wow. It's a movie?
No, it's a show.
What?
I think they have the first 3 seasons on Netflix.
Oh.
I think it's like a CBS, CW, some shit like that.
Oh, okay.
But it actually is really, really good. But yeah, there's like,
You know, it's also in my life. There is pre-Britney umbrella incident, shaving her head, and post-Britney.
I could not agree more. That is so true. I feel like her shaving her head and having that moment was like kind of a shift in our innocence.
It's a shift in my core memory, because like Britney, in my mind, as a child, is part of so many core memories. Like I watched her VHS Timeout with Britney Spears, which was like,
wow,
was like the first like movie behind the scenes of her being on tour, and also like her reacting to like her SNL or TRL performances and things like that.
I would love to watch that. That's got to be online somewhere.
We should find it. I remember watching it with my best friend as a child, and like we were just glued to the TV, like to the little TV with the VHS in it. But yeah, I mean, like she's so iconic to me.
She is iconic for sure. When I was little, I didn't realize how iconic she was.
Yeah.
But now I get it. And I think that is what is leading us to really ask ourselves this week, what is really going on with Britney Spears? And specifically, what's really going on with her memoir?
So much. Okay, so you've sort of read it.
I am currently listening to it. I'm not going to lie. I am listening to a bootleg version on YouTube. I will purchase the books to support her in the future. But for now, I just needed to listen to it ASAP, and Spotify hadn't come out with the audiobook section yet, so that's where I started. But no, I haven't read it. So I am so curious as to what she talks about in the memoir. I've gotten as far as her joining the Mickey Mouse Club. Like I'm in the very beginning.
Wow.
So okay. I only know about the childhood. So I would love to know more about like what are the kind of like the major things that she's talking about in the book.
Well, let me just preface too that like there's definitely like way bigger, more in-depth Britney Spears fans than me. Like I'm definitely like a big fan, but in terms of like knowing a lot of this information before, like her childhood, but maybe not a lot of people did either. It was just really interesting to read, and you feel awful for this human, especially at the caliber that she was. I mean, she's like, my left brain is Britney Spears and my right brain is Beyonce. Like they are on the same pedestal for me, especially as a kid. Like my first CD ever was Destiny's Child, like the first one. And then right after that was Britney Spears, like, you know, her first CD. So it's sad to see where she has ended up after her, you know, her entire situation with her father and her family.
Did that start from, like, did her negative relationship with her parents start way before we saw it with the conservatorship? Like, does she say anything in the book about that?
Yes. Okay, so I have to read some quotes because,
Please do.
first of all, she goes into, before she's even born, her parents' relationship,
Oh, yes.
which is something that a lot of people are not totally talking about. And the way that her parents met, I believe, if I remember correctly, was like her dad hit on her mom, and her mom was like not that into it, and then eventually like just like gave in to him.
Oh my God. Tale as old as time.
Yeah. And he had like a drinking problem then, and I want to say he had already gone through some like stressful times in his relationship, or like in
Wasn't
his
the
life.
mom also drinking a lot during that time? Like, I remember.
Then.
But
not in the book.
there was some story in the book when I was listening where she said that her mom was drunk and she was like 10 years old and drove them home.
But that's after this. After her parents get together. Her mom starts to drink when she becomes famous.
Oh, okay. I thought it was when she was a kid. Okay. Because that's the story that I remember.
She's famous at 10.
Oh my God, true.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like when she was a baby,
is crazy.
No. Her family she describes her family as being like pretty functional, pretty good until like her sister is born, which is hilarious. But her brother had like a really horrible accident as a kid, and that also like derailed her childhood. But she talks about how her parents are so problematic, but then she says, raising kids in the South used to be more about respecting your parents and keeping your mouth shut.
Oh.
In parentheses, today, the rules have reversed. It's more about respecting the kids, which, like, there's no shade really to the kids in this book. And she talks about how she wants them back and how she does so much to, like, see them. But this line right here just makes me think how they, like, have recently gotten into arguments and how she's called them so disrespectful and things like that. That, like, there's just, like, subtle sprinkles of shadiness.
Do you remember when her son went live on Instagram or whatever, and she was in the background like, you don't respect me, like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I don't know. I mean, I think those kids have had just a really hard life in the spotlight and try to not be in it. And I think, especially from this book, Kevin Federline is the most manipulative. Like,
please tell me, like, everything. I don't know anything about Kevin Federline.
Nothing?
Not really. Not about, like, his toxicity.
Okay. So people literally have even said, like, Justin Timberlake is toxic, and we'll get into that. But Kevin Federline is, like, evil. He is so manipulative.
What did he do? Like, give me an example.
And again, like, we don't have his side of the story in here, so I always know there's two sides of the story. But
there's actually three sides. Britney's side, Kevin's side, and the truth.
Oh, so there you go. Let me try to get to his section, but yeah, here. Perfect quote that I found, and we'll talk about it. But, like, I think he saw her and he saw money. I don't really think he was into her at all, and I never liked him. I watched their show on UPN, the, like, reality show where she documented everything, and she is just so in love with him. But I also think he is not technically, but, like, he is her rebound from Justin Timberlake.
Oh, okay.
Because everyone is like, what are you doing? Like, what are you seeing in this man who's a backup dancer who she also didn't know got his girlfriend pregnant at the time. And then this girlfriend is pregnant and he starts publicly dating Britney Spears.
That is like a 2000s version of Tristan Thompson.
It's almost like worse because I feel like Tristan Thompson is remorseful for his actions, even though they're really horrible. I don't think Kevin Federline was remorseful at all.
Really?
Yes. And I also think that my conspiracy theory is that, again, using Britney as his paycheck, he put his baby mama to the side. But I also know that there were rumors that they had gotten back together at some point. Yeah, so
Oh,
just
Jesus.
disgusting. Like,
Despicable.
it's psychotic, but I think he is evil because he would play with her and mess her mind up, like being like, you have to come see the kids right now. You only have 1 hour. And then she would show up and they would be gone and there would be paparazzi there.
What?
He is disgusting. Yeah.
Oh, that's despicable.
And I feel like his parent or her parents and him, like, they were all in on it together. I feel like they may have paid him and been like, we need you to do this. That's my conspiracy theory.
Are you saying that, for example, picking up the kids and having the paparazzi show up, Kevin Federline and her parents were conspiring to put her in a situation where she was disappointed and sad and like hurt, and have the paparazzi there to capture it to further the narrative that she was mentally unstable?
Yeah. And then there's one time where she talks about in the book how she gets time with her boys and how he like messed up the amount of time he had or she had with them because of what he did. And so then she's like holding her boys in the bathroom and the SWAT team comes in to break it up. Just like, it's so traumatic. Let me read you this quote.
Oh my gosh.
Because this is how much she loved her children. My freedom in exchange for naps with my children. It was a trade I was willing to make. There is nothing I love more, nothing more important to me on this earth than my children. I lay my life for them. So I thought, why not my freedom? This is why she agrees to the conservatorship, because she wants to see her kids. And so everybody else benefits from that, including Kevin Federline.
Hold on. They were basically setting her up and saying, you have to get under this conservatorship or you are done seeing them. You're done seeing your kids unless you let us do this. Oh my God. That is truly heartbreaking.
It makes you want to cry.
It really does.
Because I know you don't ever want to have kids, but I know you can imagine. Like, thinking about you have these baby boys who are very close in age. They're babies. And you're their mother. And you are not allowed to see them at all.
It's
and you
devastating.
Really haven't done anything wrong.
Right. And you're not a criminal. Like, they're not in danger when they're with you. No. She didn't even hold a baby over a balcony. And she can't go see them? No.
She did have her baby on her lap driving.
Oh my God. But that's a Southern thing.
She's trying to get away from the paparazzi.
And that's a Southern thing as well, I think.
Oh.
To not put your baby in the car seat, yeah. Because
on your lap?
Yeah, think about like she grew up in the middle of fucking nowhere in Louisiana. She's used to driving a car when she's 8 and just like taking her little sister down to the country store and shit. Like,
yeah.
It's not an excuse, but I feel like that's part of it probably. She was like, whatever, I'm just going down the road.
Well, yeah, it's not, you shouldn't do that though.
No, absolutely not.
But he is just disgusting, and he's still benefiting
from
her. I think he gets child support because both of them are not 18 yet.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. But, you know, another thing people didn't really elaborate on too much, I did see it on TikTok, was how Justin Bieber.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
Justin Timberlake.
We're about to start not making sense, y'all. Walk with us here. Stay with us.
We're crawling right now. How Justin Timberlake how would you say it? You say
what?
It.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
How he like spoke in
he spoke in a black accent.
Yeah, black accent.
Yeah, we need to talk. Let's just talk about Justin Timberlake right now because this man is a menace to society and needs to be stopped. So one of the main things that I've been hearing a lot of people talk about is the abortion that he made her get. So I feel like that's already been talked about. But like, what else does she say about their relationship that is just extremely fucked up?
Well, I have to read this quote.
Okay.
This is how She literally said, my mouth went like this when I read this part about NSYNC. Let me get to the beginning. She goes, so she knew Justin Timberlake from the Mickey Mouse Club. Right? They were little. And then they like reconnect. He joins NSYNC. And then they have this like bond from the Mickey Mouse Club. And they go on tour together. And I remember that tour. And
what an iconic tour.
Iconic. That the fact that they tour together is just amazing. But she goes, you couldn't explain the way we were together. It was weird. To be honest, how we were in love. His band, NSYNC, was what people back then called so pimp. And I was like, this is not where I thought this was going to go. So pimp. And I'm like,
so pimp.
I don't remember this, but like,
let me read that. We got to bring that phrase back. Continue.
No, we don't. I don't.
So pimp.
They were white boys, but they loved hip hop. And I'm like, where are we going? To me, that's what separated them from the Backstreet Boys, who seemed very consciously to position themselves as a white group, the Backstreet Boys.
I agree with that.
Okay, and then
no one in the Backstreet Boys had box braids.
We'll get into it. Get into it. Then NSYNC hung out with black artists.
Okay.
Sometimes I thought they tried too hard to fit in. One day, Jay and I were in New York going to parts of town I'd never been to before. Walking our way was a guy with a huge blinged out medallion. He was flanked by 2 giant security guards. Jay got all excited and said so loud, "Oh yeah, faux shiz, genuine. What's up, homie?" Wait.
I would pass out.
After Genuine, the singer,
yes,
walked away, Felicia did an impression of Jay. "Oh yeah, faux shiz, genuine." Jay wasn't even embarrassed. He just looked at her and was like, "Okay, fuck you, Fee." And that was the trip where he got his first big necklace. A big T for Timberlake. There's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot to unpack.
Yes.
We can talk about the Backstreet Boys versus NSYNC.
Let's start there.
Okay.
There was no one in the Backstreet Boys with box braids. They didn't have anyone. Who was in the Backstreet Boys? Brian, Nick.
Kevin. Brian, Nick, Kevin, AJ.
Howie. Okay, so looking at them, I mean, they look a little...
Let me tell you something. They are tried and true. As a child, so born in 1992, I love the Backstreet Boys, but NSYNC was like...
They had flavor.
It's like being a Jonas Brothers fan, but you're like 5 years old, and then One Direction comes out, and you're like, ooh, I'm a part of this. Like Backstreet Boys had kind of already like did its thing, and I was like coming into it. Whereas NSYNC, Britney, Christina, it's like the Holy Trinity.
They didn't like line up timeline wise.
No, Backstreet Boy. Do you not know this?
I was born in 94. I'm young.
Oops.
So
Backstreet Boys was started like
I can look it up.
95, I want to say.
93.
So that's very, like
I wasn't even born yet.
Old.
Yeah. NSYNC was 95.
Okay.
That's around the same time.
But that's a big difference in that little of an age, because they're in their prime in 97 and I'm 5 years old looking at the TV like, you know.
Oh my God.
Whereas like Backstreet Boys, they're 2 years older, so it's literally like the generation right before mine. Like people who are 2-3 years older than me, that Backstreet Boys is like their
everything. That makes
everything.
sense actually, because I feel like the age group, that the demographic that you see getting hyped up for the Backstreet Boys reunion tour was very much older.
A little
than
bit
us.
older.
Yeah,
I'm excited, but you know, like NSYNC was my everything. Now looking back, I'm like, I see who is the better group.
I think NSYNC was the better group.
No. I'm a diehard NSYNC fan, but like talent wise, I think that Backstreet Boys is more well rounded and not as problematic.
I think that NSYNC had more flavor. Their music was very flavorful, and Backstreet Boys was very Wonder Bread sandwich, ham and cheese.
I think the opposite.
Really?
I feel like NSYNC was more constructed for the masses, while Backstreet Boys has more a little bit of flavor. You gotta dig into those songs.
Maybe I do.
Dig into the songs.
Because the Backstreet Boys songs that I know are just it's larger than life. It's like, it's
you know what my favorite song is? The Call.
I don't think I even know that one. How does it go?
Dun, 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 and then it goes into, let me tell you about the story that let me tell you about the call that changed my destiny. We were hanging out just to end up in misery.
Oh no, I've never heard that one.
And then it's like, gotta go. I should have said no. Someone's waiting for me, but I gotta go. There.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. No, I haven't heard that one.
That's like Nico and my favorite song.
Okay.
From them. But anyway.
But yeah, I think of them differently, like on a different. They were the same genre, but they kind of weren't. They did things a little differently.
See, but like looking back and hearing what she had to say about them, like I think it's the Pop video. One of the videos where they're like neon out, baggy clothes. They have like their like ski sunglasses on, the spiked hair, the frosted tips, you know, the box braids.
The
and you
box
think
braids
about
are
it
everything.
and you're like, what the fuck is this strategy?
They were eating, honestly.
But everybody ate it.
I certainly did.
And the boys ate it too. That's what's also crazy. The boys were not into Backstreet Boys, but NSYNC, I think they saw them and they're like, well, if that guy can be with that girl, like Justin and Britney.
Also, they just were, from my perspective, they just seemed cooler. Maybe it's because they were younger.
Maybe they're appropriating culture.
Maybe, but it worked. Like Chris Kirkpatrick was my man. I liked the box. I thought that he was like indigenous or something. What is that man? Is he white?
Yes.
They're white.
All white. Literally, they're all white.
He's white.
White.
Ethnicity.
Not white. He's white. Very white.
Girl, he's from Pennsylvania.
He's Amish.
He had listen to his siblings' names. No hate, but I'm just saying, like, he's very white. Molly, Kate, Emily, and Taylor. His mom's name was Beverly.
Oh wow. Yeah.
They misrepresented themselves to be more ethnic, I guess, than they actually were. I'm not the only person who thought that Chris Kirkpatrick was a man of color. I'm not. I know I'm not. I know I'm not. I ended up on Chris Kirkpatrick TikTok, and the black women now, we are all looking back and being like, we were down. We didn't know that he was white. Yeah.
Wow.
Box braided out.
See, because I think the man who doesn't get as much love as he should is JC Chasez.
I feel like he gets love.
And like Chasez, what is that last name? French? But like he could have been Latino. I don't know.
Girl, there's no way this man is, you would think that he was Latino.
But see, like they're all kind of like pushing that appropriation boundary, and JC Chasez is the most suave one of them all. Like right after Justin is him. But then if you really take a closer look, you're like, oh, you are the hottest and you are the best. You know?
For sure. Justin Timberlake in NSYNC was like Beyonce and Destiny's Child.
Definitely, but he was like the main guy. If it wasn't for Britney, maybe this world would be completely different, because I really think that because they were together and everybody rooted for them and wanted them to have sex and wanted them to get married.
Oh my God, everybody wanted her to lose her virginity to Justin Timberlake. And she did, right?
And she sure did. Well,
wow.
No, I don't think she did actually. She had sex before him with someone in high school. Yeah. But everybody thought that they lost their virginities together, and they thought that was so cute. He may have lost his to hers.
No way. Justin Timberlake, that man was a menace in the high school halls.
But he again gives me that like pick me energy of like you were like maybe not that well no we saw what
that
he
Mark
looked like.
Zuckerberg energy.
It's just like oh now I feel like he might have been a little insecure as a kid with his curly hair. I know. I mean he has like an afro naturally. Yeah. It might have been a little insecure. May have not been the cutest kid in the school. Becomes famous, goes on the Mickey Mouse Club, and then just skyrockets afterwards, and then dates the hottest person on the face of the earth.
Not only the hottest person, the biggest star.
The biggest star, the girl that every guy had a poster of. Like, I was talking about this with Nico. He had a poster of Britney Spears.
Epic.
Like, he was like, she was my crush, for sure. And I'm like, everybody, even girls too, you know, like I'm sure like that's probably one of my first crushes if you think about it in that way, like you're just so obsessed with her. But I don't think if it wasn't for her he wouldn't be who he was. I don't think he would have been the most popular one.
If it wasn't for her we wouldn't even have Crimea River.
And that is problematic.
Can you does she talk about that?
Yes.
Okay.
So we talk about how he is an appropriator. And then they have sex and they get pregnant. And that's when it goes downhill. Because I think she wants to keep the baby and his
of course she does.
Team is telling him absolutely not. No, that will ruin your career, da-da-da-da-da. So, you know, even before they get pregnant, too, there's some cheating that happens. And you're like, of course.
Wait, of course. What happened with the cheating?
He was cheating on her.
With who?
With anybody. And there's a quote where she says, there were a couple times during our relationship when I knew he had cheated on me. And I gasp. Especially because I knew he was so infatuated and so in love, I let it go. Or because she was so infatuated and so in love. Even though the tabloids were seemed to determine to rub it in my face. Sorry, we're getting a little off the tracks here.
Okay.
When NSYNC went into London in 2000, photographers caught him with one of the girls from All Saints, which is a luxury clothing brand, in a car.
Oh, wow.
But I never said anything. And at the time, we'd only been together for a year. Another time, we were in Vegas, and one of my dancers who had been hanging out with him told me he gestured towards a girl and said, yeah, man, I hit that last night. I don't know what to say, or I don't want to say who he was talking about because she's actually very popular and she's married with kids now. I don't want her to feel bad.
Wait, what was the hint that she gave as to who this woman was?
She is very popular.
No, what did she say when he first looked at her?
I hit that last night.
That's all? How did she introduce the girl? She just said he looked at a girl and said...
One of my dancers who had been hanging out with him told me he gestured to a girl.
Oh.
And they were in Vegas. So think about someone, because I was trying to do this too, and you're better at this than me. Think about someone at that time who would have been around, who maybe was a model, or maybe not as big.
What time was that?
That's after their first year of dating. So like 96?
Let me look.
Or after 2000?
They started dating in 1999.
Okay, so it's probably like 2001.
So 2000, 2001, 2000s or like early 2000s models. Who is very popular right now and married with kids. Ooh, Gisele Bündchen. She's not married now, but maybe she was when she wrote that.
Is she very popular though?
I would say so. She's one of the most popular models from the 2000s. That was like Victoria's Secret model time.
Yeah. Heidi Klum. Like, who else would have been in Vegas at that time? Because if you're in Vegas and you're a celebrity, you're probably there because you're there for a performance or like a modeling gig.
Yeah, I have no idea who that could be, but he's a piece of shit. I get it.
Let us know who you think that might be. But anyway, so then he's cheating on her and then they get pregnant. And she said that, everybody's talked about how horrible that was because I don't know if you heard this too. Like, she gets the abortion and she's in excruciating pain on the bathroom floor, like crying. And at one point he thinks, oh, let me play my guitar for her.
Stop.
Did you hear that?
No.
Oh my God, Bria. Like,
stop.
He literally sits down and serenades her on the floor. Like, if that was me, I would have been like, get the fuck away from me.
All that I do is not enough for you. Like,
it's giving bad Kenergy. It's not.
It is giving Kenergy.
It's not though. Well, it is, but not in a good way.
A guy forcing you to listen to him play guitar, especially when you're in excruciating pain. Narcissist vibes.
Like, oh, I'm gonna help. So she goes, I kept crying and sobbing until it was all over. It took hours and I don't remember how it ended, but I do 20 years later remember the pain and the fear. After that, I was messed up for a while, especially because I still did love Justin so much. It was insane how much I loved him, and for me, it was unfortunate. I should have seen the breakup coming, but I didn't, because he breaks up with her after they abort their child together, and she goes back home to Kentland, Louisiana, and he basically, before that, I believe he texts her and breaks up with her. I think he did that.
I heard that.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
Then this is what made me be like, Jesus. She says, Justin flew out to Louisiana to visit me after they had broken up. He brought me a long letter he had written and framed. I still have it under my bed. And at the end, it said, it makes me want to cry to think about. I can't breathe without you. Those are the last words in it. Reading it, I thought, damn, he's a good writer. Because that was exactly how I felt. It almost felt like I was suffocating, like I couldn't breathe after all of that had happened. The thing is, though, even after I saw him and read the letter, I didn't come out of the trance. He did all that. He came there to see me, and I still couldn't talk to him or anybody.
She couldn't talk to him, or
she just
couldn't
like
talk to
was
anybody?
in like she was just in disbelief and like depression, honestly.
Wow.
And who in their right mind writes a letter and then thinks, I need to frame this for them?
She's gonna want these words framed.
Framed.
Despicable. Absolutely despicable.
Why?
Human being. Because he thinks that like this is going to be a core memory for her that she's going to want to. She's going to want to hang that in her home.
It's psychotic. It's borderline serial killer tendencies. Truly.
It's narcissism. It's just pure narcissism.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
Like, it's bizarre.
Poor Britney.
It's bizarre.
She has been through so much. It's just it's devastating.
And then he puts out the album and Justified. Cry Me a River comes out. Like, you're a cheating son of a bitch.
Trying to accuse her of doing what you did.
And she does admit she cheated on him one time. Did you watch the Michael Jackson thing on HBO and Neverland?
No.
Okay, so one of the guys who's on that talks about Michael Jackson was her choreographer, and that's the one guy she kissed on a dance floor, and that was her one cheat. Now,
did he find out about that, and that's what Cry Me a River was about, or is he just making up shit?
I don't know if he ever did find out about it, but then she talks about in the book too how like she thinks that he breaks up with her because he's working on this album about breakups.
Honestly, I would believe it because he has no feelings. It's like, how can I just change my life to further my career? Sick.
It's foul.
Absolutely foul. So where is she, like, at the end of the book? Like, where is she now? How is she doing? Obviously, she's out of her conservatorship.
Well, that's the other thing that I wish was talked about, but I feel like this book was written and published before her latest divorce happened.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the book, she is she's freed from her conservatorship, thank God. And how she goes on vacation to her two favorite places, Maui and Cancun. She has a new puppy and she's with her husband at the time. And she's just reflecting on how, like, she can't trust anybody.
Yeah.
But how she is someone who is strong and confident and, like, a woman. And she talks about how she had big dreams as a little girl. And she knew she could make her dreams come true. And she didn't always know that she had the power to make the world look at her the way that she wanted to. Like, that's another thing she talks about is just she was just such, like, a pleaser, which is interesting to think about. Like, she's a diva, right? Like,
no, she ain't no diva. I really don't consider her a diva because I feel like I've always been able to pick up on her being a people pleaser. And a diva is inherently not a people pleaser.
Because she talks about, I think, Jennifer Lopez in the book and how she, like, watches her and she just says, like, no to stuff. Mm-hmm. Just says no.
Jennifer Lopez is a diva.
Yeah. She has
Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston,
Beyonce,
Nicki Minaj,
Cardi,
Taylor Swift, not a diva. Borderline diva territory, but not there yet. In my eyes, from what I know.
You think she's a people pleaser?
I think she's getting out of the people pleasing phase. I would say, like,
reputation.
That was her getting out of her people pleaser moment.
Yeah. So that's how she ends it. I would love a part 2.
Oh my God, yes. Brittany, give us a part 2. We love you. We support you. God bless.
And I hope that you reconnect with your children. Because I think that's the saddest part of it all.
That is sad.
They're, like, pretty much almost adults, if not. I think one is, like, 18 and one is 17. Or one is 18 and one is 16. Which is sad. It's like she was, like, truly in jail for their entire lives. And, like, you know, that's all she really has is them. She doesn't have her family. She has very few friends, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Very few people she can trust.
Yeah, I would love to have, like, a documentary that's, like, the woman in me with her, and she's really getting into it.
You think you know, but you have no idea. This is the diary of Britney Spears.
And then the album comes out, and the reunion tour comes out, and we're ready to go.
Exactly. The idea that I want us to ponder on this week, do you think that there will ever be another pop star like Britney Spears to that level in that genre, in that way, right? Because obviously Beyonce is, you think of Beyonce, Lady Gaga, all these people that are, like, on that level of fame, but anyone on the level of that specific type of iconicness?
I don't think so. I don't think it's possible, and then I'll tell you why. Because social media, and there's so much saturation now. Like, I just think that there was no one. She was like, she hit all the right points in her career. She had a majorly popular, famous boyfriend who she could travel with. So, like, from a marketing strategy standpoint, you package them together, there's nothing stopping you. You're the most powerful couple in the world. They wore freaking jeans to the VMAs.
Iconic.
And it's like the most iconic couple costume, period. You know, you're a Mickey Mouse club member, and, like, you're a child prodigy, amazing voice, amazing dancer, pretty good actress, like,
yeah, beautiful, like, absolutely stunning, the perfect ideal of beauty.
Yes. Like, you just check all these boxes.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think the next Britney Spears is going to be someone who just completely reinvents the pop space as we know it, and they're not the next Britney Spears. They're their own person.
Other thing, too, and I think a lot of people talk about this, too, like, you know, your attention span on media is so stretched between social media, TV, streaming, that, like, gone are the days truly of TRL. And this is something else that they talk about in here in the documentary, where, like, everyone at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock is tuning in to watch TRL, which she was the queen of.
Yes.
So it's just reinforcing that image where now there isn't like one place where everybody like tunes in to their pop stars.
Right. And there's not like a single voice that's telling you who to care about. There's just so many people that you can be a fan of nowadays.
Yeah.
The
Which
competition
is a good thing.
It is a good thing. I do feel nostalgic about the TRL VH1 days, but I'm glad we have such easy access to like new artists and new people and just listening to whatever we want, watching whatever we want, following whoever we want, and we get that really deep inside look into their lives because we're seeing their Instagram stories and their TikToks and all that.
Yeah.
So
I think Billie Eilish could be the next like
reinventor.
Yes. Because she is different, but she is familiar. Does that make sense?
How does she feel familiar?
Because I think her first album, the way it was produced, where she comes from, her parents, like, and her documentary, like, she made that album, which is a banger, no skips album, in her brother's room.
Right.
They recorded a multi-platinum album in her brother's room in Silver Lake.
And she was a teenager.
Right.
Is she even 20 yet? Is she 21?
I think she's either 20 or 21 now, which is kind of crazy.
She's like a literal teenager. And I hadn't even heard of her until I saw like a clip on TikTok or something of one of her concerts. And I was like, this is like a stadium.
And she is a woman. Like, she has curves.
And she covers her body.
Which is very Gen Z of her.
She's very like baggy clothes cover, which is it's very like interesting. It's like anti-Britney almost.
That's exactly why I think she is. Exactly. Yeah. So she is blonde hair, blue-eyed, big-breasted, nice ass woman, which we can talk about because she's 20. But she dyes her hair black and green and wears baggy clothes and is into Justin Bieber and Tyler, the Creator. Like, she is so relatable for that age.
Very true, yeah.
That I think that is their Britney. She's the anti-Britney.
Wow, that's wild. That's an interesting one to leave you guys to ponder with, honestly. Yeah. Let us know if you guys agree. I can kind of see that, actually. Now that when you first said it, I was like, absolutely not. But now that you explained it, I'm like, actually, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Damn. Shall we close out with our quote? I think we can say this one together.
Okay, ready?
Yes. Let's back up though.
2, 3. Leave Britney alone.
Leave her alone.
Leave Britney alone.
And with that, bye girlies.